Welcome to the podcast, Kate.
Hi.
Nice to have you on.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So do you want to talk to me about, who you are, what you do at Next in this, across the business, like what part of the business you're in?
Yeah, sure. So I've worked for Next for about 18 years now.
Oh, long time.
So long time.
Long time.
Yeah, I work in online, so online customer services.
Yeah.
But the area I actually work in at the moment is escalated complaints.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, so not Frontline. So the stuff that comes in Frontline is dealt with by our contact centres. We're based over in Phase 5, customer escalations team, and that's a team of people that will deal with anything that's come through Frontline that they've not been able to resolve. Just needs a little bit of specialist care, handhold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and just a couple of things there, like some terminology that probably me
sorry.
and you get. No, it's all right. We get it all the time. We love our own terminology. So, Phase 5's at the Enderby campus, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So a bit of change over there, actually.
Yeah.
So obviously the main operations moved over to Radar Road, our new contact centre. We've stayed upstairs in the loft space, and we'll remain there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and Radar Road's still in Leicester, in the vicinity of Leicester. Yeah, it's 10 minutes from the main Enderby campus?
On our doorstep, basically,
yeah.
And it's a really nice site.
Nice.
Really nice site.
And that's, so and you mentioned there as well, you mentioned Frontline. What's that? Is that the contact centre advisors predominantly? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So basically...
No, it's okay. No, it's good.
Frontline is where all of our customers would come to. So there's a variety of different departments that they'll come through to, depending on what they need. They'll come through, speak to an advisor there. They'll try and resolve it for them, and 9 times out of 10 absolutely can. Great team of people. But sometimes customers just need a little bit of extra support or help. Like I say, like a handhold approach, really. And that's where my team would come in. So they'd take over any complaint that's escalated, and they'd look after it until it's resolved. And we've got a good outcome for the customer.
Nice. And is it always, I guess you've seen in your 18 years here, is it changed a lot from just being phone? Because I guess that's why it's called online customer service, isn't it? It's not just someone ringing up anymore.
Massively.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, 18 years ago when I started at Next, I started in escalated complaints, had a different title then, different name.
No way.
But started off on the phones as an advisor, working Saturdays. So still dealing with escalations, and very similar to how we deal with them now. But in terms of technology and the way that we look after complaints and the way that they're presented to is completely different. I mean, back then it was all sort of pen to paper, loads of opening envelopes and letters and filing things, whereas now everything's is of course on the system, and most customers will choose to contact us by email.
Is email the predominant one?
Definitely.
Is it?
Yeah. But we're starting to experiment with WhatsApp, because even
wicked.
email's getting a bit outdated now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Experimenting with things like WhatsApp, and we do a lot of chat as well. So we don't use it in escalations, mainly because we like to talk to the customers and really get a feel for their issues. But again, in sort of Frontline, as we've called it, they tend to chat to customers. So, like a chat facility where it's immediate back forth response.
Yeah, I know. To be honest, I've never actually had to use it for Next, which is a positive.
Good.
That is good. But I know when I've spoken with every brand now, it's so key, isn't it? That customer service, it's so key. The chat and the email and WhatsApp is really interesting, actually, because it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's part of everyone's life now, really.
And we're impatient. We want a resolution straight away. We don't want to be.
We do.
And I think as well, you've got to kind of keep up with sort of the other elements of service that we offer. So, next day delivery, if you've ordered something, you're going to receive it the next day. If something goes wrong, again, you want that resolution as quick as you're expecting to receive your parcel. So it sort of all ties in.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it makes sense, because we do pride ourselves on that delivery service and, offering those things that, a lot of other retailers don't offer. Yeah. So it makes sense to do it for customers.
Fast-paced.
Yeah, it is. It's really, would you say, how because I can imagine in customer service, the pace must be pretty quick.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So things are changing constantly. So you've got to kind of keep up with everything that's happening. Because again, in escalations, you kind of need a little bit of knowledge about everything that's happening, just so you're in a better position to be able to resolve things for customers. So yeah, you kind of need to have a bit of knowledge about everything that's going on. So it means that you kind of become, very aware of the wider business.
Yeah, I bet. So talk to me about why escalations, like why, because you said you started in there just doing a Saturday. Why? Have you always been in that department, or have you?
I've moved around a little bit, but always sort of within the contact centre. But do you know, the great thing about escalations is you do tend to think that it would be kind of, it would be soul destroying talking to customers that have had a problem. And especially, some of them can be quite vocal. It can be really challenging, but the satisfaction that you get from resolving a complaint, it feels really good. And I think customers really appreciate it as well. So yeah, I mean, obviously, that's the team that are there that do that, and that they are absolutely amazing. When you're in that environment and you're listening into them on the phones, talking to customers, they all have like a really specialist skill set.
Right.
And it's just, it takes like a special kind of person to be able to do that day in, day out.
Yeah, I imagine.
But like I say, the reward's great.
Yeah, I bet it is. I guess as well, I bet it's really satisfying if you've got like a customer that's come on that's hopefully, and please no one ever do this, being like aggressive or anything. We don't want that. But, someone that's a bit just miffed, basically. Like, it happens.
It does.
It happens. But to go from that to them being like, them almost not only feeling like there's a good resolution, but almost improving the respect and the perception of the brand.
Yeah.
Really important.
Massively.
Yeah.
And when you've turned it around, and, often customers will say, I'd never shop with Next again. And then you turn it around and they're like, thank you so much. You've really restored our faith in the business.
That is
feels
rewarding.
Really good.
That is really, really rewarding. I mean, I can think of not at Next, but I can think of an electronics retailer. And I just remember just being like, be patient. And they were so good throughout the whole thing. And it did. And that was like 20 years ago. And I still remember that sort of interaction because it was pleasant. It was, open. Everyone was just trying to get the best solution for it. So, well, that's really good then.
It does. It feels good.
Yeah. I'm glad you phrased it that way, because there could be a real negative connotation around the role as well, couldn't there?
Yeah, when we're recruiting, we invite people to come in and listen into calls just to get a feel for what the department's like. And honestly, so many people say it's absolutely not what I thought it would be like. When you've got a customer on the phone and you say to them, I'm so sorry that this has gone wrong, but I'm going to put it right for you.
Yeah.
Immediately they go from up here right down, like, okay, let me see what you can do. Let's see how we can get this resolved.
Yeah, defo. And is there a certain kind of, you mentioned there, they've all got a certain skill set, or they've all developed it. Is there certain things that when you're recruiting, or, if anyone is thinking of that sounds like a good career for me, is there certain attributes that you look out for that might help them in the role?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we like people need to be compassionate, but, resilient as well, because you are coming back in day after day, listening to the same things. But it's just that passion. It's that passion for resolving a situation that, we need to turn around, and being able to continue with that, throughout the course of a day, a week, a month, and then, possibly their career.
Yeah. And what do you think's kept you here so long then, Kate? Because 18 years is a long time.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I started on the phones on Saturdays. I'd not long finished school. And I love it here. I really like it. I like the sense of, I mean, certainly within my department, there's a great sense of, it feels like a family.
Right.
I know that sounds a bit cliche, but honestly,
no.
It does. It really does. I think, going back to thinking about going, through the pandemic when none of us were in the office, and that feeling of isolation, and then to come back into the office. And like I say, all of these people are kind of very like-minded. So you're working with people that are just like yourself, and it's really nice. It's lovely. And there's people that I work with that I've worked with for that 18 years. So it's obviously, a very nice place to work because of that. But yeah, I love working for Next.
That's interesting as well. Like, I think that's such a key point that, you know, there's a lot of people in the same position as you, because it's unique to Next, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's something that gets under your, like, in a good
Yeah.
way, under your skin, and you're like, just really, really enjoy it.
Honestly, we keep meaning to add up the years of service within the department. So we've just had 2 people that have done 35 years. And two people, I know, within the space of a week, both done 35 years service. And for the duration of that, pretty much been in complaints. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Once you come in, you won't go away.
And what sort of new things? Because I know you've already mentioned, like, you know, some of the new technologies that online customer service is taking on board. What's some of the new things in particular in your area are you kind of excited about or working on at the moment?
I think, you know, you've got to mention AI, haven't you? So we do a lot of root cause analysis. So we obviously resolve our complaints, but we like to look at what's caused the complaint initially.
Makes sense.
So we like to look at trends and patterns and, you know, for example, a faulty product. So if we're dealing with a home complaint, it might be that we've seen a rise in complaints surrounding a certain product. We can feed that back to the technologists. You know, it may even go to the point where we have to do a recall on an item. But we're looking at how we can use AI to pick up on those, the root cause of problems, so we can kind of tackle them before they've become a problem, if you like. So if as soon as we start to see an increase in a certain type of complaint, we can feed that back to the front line, feed it back to product possibly, and make changes to avoid it sort of spiralling or escalating any further. So that's a big one.
Really collaborative then.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. We work with so many different areas of the business.
I suppose you kind of have to, don't you? To, you know, I guess product's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Because people are ringing about the product. But I guess you've got to be able to speak to loads of different people to get the best solution for the customer.
Yeah, and we look after retail stores as well. So any complaint that's made of the outcome of somebody's shopping in one of our retail stores, we look after those too. So obviously, you know, huge amount of stores out there. So really good relationship with the retail team as well.
Oh, that's good. I mean, yeah, AI is literally the topic, isn't it?
It
at the
really
moment.
is, yeah.
But I think the thing is, it's used in so many different ways, and it sounds like you're using it more from a data point of view, which sounds really smart.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that happens in Frontline, so we also look after our vulnerable customers. So any customers that need some specialist support. It's really hard to identify a vulnerable customer, but there's key things that they can say, triggers that they can use whilst they're on the phone, and we use something called iAssist. So basically, the system within Frontline prompts the advisor to sort of question the customer as to whether or not they may need some specialist support based on some of the keywords that they've used.
How clever.
So yeah, so some like the bigger ones, for example, if a customer was to say dementia during a call to the contact centre, that would then pop up and say, okay, this customer might need some additional support, offer to transfer them through to the customer care team. So again, it's not just within our department, but the wider area.
Oh, okay. So, and that term vulnerable, what does that cover? Because I guess that's quite broad. What are you talking from? Anything from?
It's huge, yeah. So it can be absolute. I think this is the big thing. It can be absolutely anybody as well.
Okay.
So you know, it could be a customer that's managed their account, perfectly able to do that for a huge, you know, a long period of time, and then suddenly something could happen, a life-changing event could happen, and they would become, like I say, our terminology, vulnerable, and we would then look at offering them some additional support. So it can be anything from, say, for example, if somebody had a car accident, meant that they were in a position where they weren't able to work, that would mean that they were potentially vulnerable, to somebody that's sort of maybe in stages of dementia, even terminal illness, you know, so it is very broad.
So it's anything from health to financial well-being to, you know, all these different things.
Yeah,
covering
that's
it.
right.
And then and like you said there, really key word, this word support. Are we then offering and trying to, you know, support the customer in the best possible way then? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as soon as we've recognised that potential vulnerability, we want to have a conversation with that customer. So we want to say to them, look, there are things that we can do to support you. I guess maybe like quite a big one would be a customer that was, say, for example, visually impaired. It might be then that we would send out enlarged statements for them. We would offer braille statements, that kind of thing. Customer that was hard of hearing, there's all sorts of things that we can do. So customer that's hard of hearing, it might be that we would do some sort of, offer to communicate with them via sign language.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God, wow, that's incredible, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really, I guess the great thing with that is we're just, we're giving anyone, like you say, the ability to come and shop and then, deal with us as well, then, aren't we? And it's really tight. It's really making it accessible for everyone to kind of talk to us about any issue or anything. Really.
Absolutely, yeah. And once we've recorded it on the system, once that customer comes back through to us, we know exactly what service they require.
Clever.
Yeah, so it's brilliant. And we have a lot of customers actually that they just need some support and help with just shopping online. So the team will literally sit on the call with them whilst they're going over stuff on the website, talking to them about what they want to order and just helping them through that process.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's really, really good. And I guess then that's where as well, like when you were saying it, it was clicking in my mind that if someone, say, for example, is hard of hearing, they're not going to want to ring someone.
No.
But the chat function or email or something like that is way clearer. Equally on the other side, if they've got, limited sight or, whatever that might be, they're going to want to ring instead, maybe.
That's right.
So it's having those options as well to help.
Yeah, and maybe even something like a customer maybe with, a speech impediment, if they come through to us and we know that they've got sort of that, they're in that situation, we then have the time to be able to allow them to talk to us and talk through what their problem is. And be understanding of that instead of them having to try and explain that every single time they come through to the contact centre.
Yeah, because that's going to be frustrating, isn't
Absolutely,
it? Yeah, it's going to be frustrating. And I can see now why you said there, right at the start around, people needing that level of compassion and understanding and also like that patience to not in the way of, oh, this is annoying, I've got to have patience, just like the ability to understand what the scenario is because you don't know what's going to come.
Absolutely. And like I say with the resilience, because when, we have got customers that are terminally ill and we'll be talking to them on a regular basis and that can be so hard, so hard for the team. So again, it's nice that it's sort of in a smaller environment and we can look out for them in the way that they're looking out for the customers.
And how many people within your area are there then dealing with all of this?
So around about 100 people overall.
Yeah.
The customer care team is sort of a smaller part of that, but about 100 people.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
And what, if someone's kind of thinking of joining next or, they're kind of thinking, oh, is it the right place for me? And is this in a part of the business that I want to work in? Because, we get a lot of people, I know we do get a lot of people come from stores or from distribution or, even people from the local area. We're a massive employer in the local area. What kind of bit of advice would you give them, do you think?
I think, like thinking back to me being fresh out of school when I first joined, I think, like I say, you've got to have a skill set that's required for you to be able to do that job. But it's thinking about what the future can hold. I mean, I've stayed within online, but so many of my colleagues have moved to different areas of the business. And I think it's just such a great place to get your foot in the door. And it just opens up the opportunity to so many things. And I think that would really be sort of what I would say if you were looking for a job with Next. If you come in, get some experience, and then it just opens, like I said, we contact so many different areas of the business. We've got contacts all over head office. We've obviously got our contact centre up in Doncaster and a huge distribution centre as well. So there's just so much opportunity.
Yeah, I always, it's the number one thing I say all the time. It's the opportunities there. Yeah. It's the opportunity within your role. It's the opportunity around the business. I know so many people that have come from store or come from the contact centre and now they work in product.
Yeah.
Or people that have come from, working. I even know someone, actually, I know one of the directors that used to just work in one of the Leicester stores and now she's a product director.
It's incredible. And I think the other thing is as well, you might not necessarily know that some of these jobs exist,
No,
but it might be. So, I mean, I talked
No.
a bit earlier about product technology. So I know somebody that used to work in our area, and sometimes we do a lot of, obviously have to send a lot of garments off for testing.
Yes.
And they obviously had a bit of an insight into what that was, and that's what they do now.
No way.
They decided that was something that they wanted to pursue in terms of a career, and they moved over there. And again, they probably didn't even know that was something that they wanted to do. But they came in, they obviously learnt a little bit about what happens, and decided that was where they saw themselves, and moved over there.
Yeah, you hear that a lot, and that's not uncommon here. That is not uncommon. And people don't move either. Like you say, they're not moving because they're unhappy or it's not right for them or whatever. It's just a new opportunity's presented itself.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing, you're saying about what you like about working at Next, and you've been here for such a long period of time. I love the fact that you'll be walking around head office and you see people that you maybe haven't seen for a long period of time. But it's great. It's like familiar faces all the time.
It really
and
is.
There is so many people that you bump into, and it's just really nice feel.
Yeah, it is a nice feel, and I get that feel. You know what? I get that feeling because I work in a lot of different areas. So I'll go to stores, or we'll sometimes go and do like filming, or even meetings up in distribution, or we'll kind of do stuff around the Enderby campus. It is the same feeling everywhere you go. Kind of everyone's just kind of trying to do the best job, trying to grow the brand, and it's just a really, really good thing to be part of. Really, it really is. But don't you find as well that when you walk around and you see people but then you also find yourself being like, I would probably never come across this person outside, but the variety and diversity of people is massive.
My very best friend from 18 years ago, I started with her at the same time when I started here, and she's still my very best friend now. 18 years later, I'd have never met her, and I'm not actually sure if I had done, I would have liked her.
Oh no, she's going to be like,
it's okay. She doesn't work here anymore. It's okay.
Okay.
But actually, because we're in that same environment for such a long period of time, we became best friends and then stayed in contact. So it's stuff like that. You think about the people that it brings into your life. I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people here. There's a lot of good people, and you can build some really, really good relationships. And I think the thing is, like you said about the moving and around. I was speaking to someone the other day, and she was saying that she was moving to a new area, and she's like, I'm going to be leaving behind kind of, lots of friends and stuff. I was like, yeah, but they'll still be there, and you'll create a whole new set as well of people that you're going to interact with. So I think that's the beauty of it. You kind of just keep adding more and more good people to your kind of like inner circle, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely do. And that's what I say. I've moved around a little bit in online. So I went to work for the home department, so Frontline home complaints and queries. I went to work there. And again, still really very much in contact with a lot of people that work in that area, just because it was quite a big chunk of time. And again, met people that I probably wouldn't have normally met, but still really good friends with now.
And it's also good, isn't it, as well? Because we talk about on a previous episode as well, you never know when that relationships or those connections from a past role or a department or even like a project you work on would come in handy.
I know.
In terms of, do you know what? I think this person can help.
Yeah, and if they can't, they'll definitely know somebody that can. Yeah, who shall I reach out to? Yeah.
And there's a lot of that, and it's not like there's not structure or there's not the right things in the way. That's not it at all. It's just there's so many people with so much knowledge. It's just knowing where to tap into it.
I did a course a few years ago now. It's called Future Leaders. It's something we're doing online. So it brings people from all over the business together to work towards, obviously, thinking about what progression looks like and basically thinking about what leadership is. And I met a lot of people from distribution, which was absolutely great because, again, working in complaints, sometimes there's situations where we might have a sofa go missing at the warehouse or, we might have a problem with a delivery. And again, you've met these people, you've done that sort of networking and you know who to reach out to. So again, stuff like that is just brilliant.
Yeah, it really, really is. It really, really is. Well, thank you for coming on, Kate. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been great, and I think it's such a key part of the business, because I think as well, like we said right at the start, it's still giving that same level of service. Like, we have great product, we get it out on time, so then why not? If there are any issues or customers need any support,
that's it.
Do the same thing.
And things do go wrong. They do go wrong. They go, it happens all the time, but it's how we put them right that makes the big difference.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.